Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Recently, two incidents took place which has shaken my faith in democracy. One was a leader of the NDP saying that he doesn't care and doesn't like conservatives. Other was former President Obama's endorsement of Justin Trudeau. While the first shows racist attitude and, as a matter of fact, xenophobic attitude and anti-white attitude, Obama's endorsement is a wanton, undesirable interference in the internal affairs of another country. While President Trump is sought to have been punished for the same thing, Obama has done that, and there is nary of objection to that. And Jagmeet's statement that he doesn't like conservatives shows that politics is no longer the game of gentlemen. The business of politics, and I call it business, lacks all ethical values, and there's need for values. After all, what is democracy? Is it just a set of institutions? And the institutions apparently are, minimally speaking, fair and free elections, an elected parliament containing an executive and opposition to hold it accountable, and an independent judiciary, a non-partisan bureaucracy, a free media, and a security of all citizens. Is that only the democracy? But should democracy not have values that include an ability to accommodate diverse points of view, where contradictory and conflicting views can coexist, that requires the civility of conduct, a commitment to egalitarian ideals, and the idea of citizenship, encompassing duties as well, and a commitment to common good over individual desires. And that should be democracy. Demos means people. If the rule of the people, it should be the common good of the individual desires. And the elections should not be perceived as anything more than short-term contests. They come within 4 years and once in 5 years, depending on the country. So they should be a short-term game. That's it. A contest to select or elect the appropriate person to conduct the affairs, not to rule. No, there is a difference. We have to forget that the monarchy rules. In democracy, the parties should not rule, they should govern. The project of democracy, the political project, is a very long game. But people like Jagmeet and Obama and Trudeau, even people like Shia, when they hit the fact that they were having double citizenship, are making it a sordid game of selfish ends, which has no end. And as I have been saying, all the three parties in Canada and in India, the same thing goes. The opposition party calls the former Prime Minister and the prospective Prime Minister, nobody, a thief. And not once, but 100 times. It's repeated ad nauseum. Where is civility gone? Where is decency gone? And business of politics has degenerated into mafia rule. Without values, without ideals, and without hopes for the people. As a matter of fact, I feel, and I think you would agree with me, that the relationship between the democratic values and the democratic institutions is symbiotic. The institutions are supposed to protect, safeguard the values. And how can they do it? In their own conduct. Their conduct should be an exemplary conduct pertaining to these values, and there should not be a deviation from that. The most democratic value, the foremost one, in respect of the institutions, is there. But we should not forget that both institutions and the values are essential for any country if democracy is not to result in mafia rule, oligarchy, or mobocracy. Now, what are elections? As I said, they are short-term gain, but they are also key indicators of the health of a democracy and are a complicated mechanism involving ratio of the politician to the number of the elected representatives, calendars, machines, processes. The purpose of the election is to safeguard against majoritarianism. That is why a referendum is not a democratic election through which popular representation can be established. And by making elections free and fair, it allows people to experience and perform citizenship by participation in the elections, where they are treated equally and with respect by a system. And that system has to be transparent, clear, unfettered, basically to ensure that all elections are fair and free. And that's why the Election Commission has to be a body with the functions with complete integrity and transparency. There are no hidden agendas. It has to fulfill its duty as an impartial referee towards rights. It is the protector of the rights of the electorate. And that's what the Election Commission is, impartial, like, that classical picture of justice, eyes covered, but balance in hand. And that's what the Election Commission is supposed to be. And then judiciary is to be a watchdog, to maintain a check on the violation of norms and the human rights. Then comes the fourth estate, the media. And it covers the entire range of political opinion and campaigns. And crucially, the citizens exercise their franchise with complete faith in the system. And if I look at the democratic process in any country, whether it's USA, whether it's Canada, whether it's India, the Election Commission is more often than not biased. We have seen it in India, we have seen it here. They are always favoring the ruling party. Then, judiciary has its own bias, and fourth estate, rotten to the core, absolutely biased, partisan, and a propaganda machine of the respective party. So that's why the people lose faith in the democratic system. And to counteract that, I remember in 1980s, we had developed a moral code of conduct. We had seen that in the last few decades of elected democracy, some sort of self-regulation was required to maintain a modicum of decorum. And that's why the model code of conduct was involved. There is no model code of conduct either in USA or in Canada. And by model code of conduct, all political parties have to recognize the fact to maintain democratic values, even and especially during an election campaign. I do not deny that this moral code of conduct has been more often violated than observed, but still it's there. It's a guideline. And hope is there that someday the political parties would abide by it. Some of them abide, mostly don't. And those who have been involved in elections, in politics, know that elections are by nature not really elections. They are competitive and like a carnival. In the heat of the moment, anything can be said, as Jagmeet said. But that was not heat, that was well thought of. Desperate measures are taken and power is misused to secure a win. A democratic win is achieved, real democratic win, while maintaining democratic values. What Mahatma Gandhi won was by the moral values, ethical standards. And that is what is required, what Nelson Mandela did. These people have ruled the hearts of the people, minds of the people. And naturally, the political power follows that. So if that is synchronized with the democratic values, that is something which can soothe the lacerated people of the world. As a matter of fact, what happens is that the democratic win is achieved while maintaining democratic values. That would be a heaven-sent opportunity. But then there are certain constraints. What has happened is that means are considered to be secondary, and the end is the winning. As they say, everything is fair in love and war, and this is a war, not in love. But to be clear and to ensure that democracy is really democracy, we have got to see that the means are ethical, abide by the moral values of the society. I'm not bothered about society. I talk about the basic human values: honesty, transparency, truth, fair response to everybody, fair, no discrimination on the basis of sex, color, caste, creed, gender, anything. No discrimination. And no discrimination based on the so-called diversity. As a matter of fact, diversity is the worst thing that has happened. And I'll be talking in one of my talks that diversity is something which is more of a curse than a unifying factor. But now, let's come to that. What has happened in the recent past is the relationship with the democratic values and the elections, because of the combination of various factors, including mass technology, institutional failures, has been broken. It's a fractured relationship. There's practically a separation of the ethics and politics. And the credentials of the democratic leader are simply one of the party which wins the largest number of seats in the parliament without taking into account how they were won, which institutions were destroyed in the process of that, and the quality of the conduct and the veracity, honesty of the utterances during that journey. And we have seen fake news, rumors, innuendos, insults. And Jagmeet and Obama are the clear examples. And then elections have become a free-for-all affair where the only thing that matters is winning by fair means and mostly by foul means. And that's a tragedy of the democracy. As a matter of fact, the discourse, which is supposed to be decent and the people are taught that, has become so cheapened that an incumbent prime minister can be called a thief, as happened in India, and that it so is to lower that discourse further. And the role that money plays in the elections and the democratic process is key to this. Money cannot buy votes, but it can buy advertising space, partiality of the journalists, time and the labor of the social media, and even votes. We have seen it in India at least. People have sold their votes for 2 months. Money has always played a murky role in violating democratic norms. And especially in the South Asian countries and in the African countries. But the new mechanism of electoral bound should be a game changer. Again, I repeat that the elections should be deemed as short-term contest. And the political power object of the democracy should be the long-term game, building a democratic polity instinctively requires meticulous building up of robust institutions. And the values I'm talking are not esoteric or artificial. They exist. We are just violating them. Basic decency in speech, learning to live with opposition and conflicting ideas, cooperating with anyone and everyone for the common purpose of the common people, their welfare, playing by the rules even when they're personally inconvenient. Avoid lying, which the politicians are adept at uttering lines at every single word that they utter, and ensure that the people learn to live with each other. I know they are not easy values to be taken care of. If you go with the values, maybe you will not be elected. But is being elected most important? I agree that politics has become a business, but must it be mafia? Must it be Costa Nostra? So no country or citizen is born democratic. Let's be clear about it. They have to be made democratic. And you can make them democratic by adopting values. The values and the institutions also need protection because they're vulnerable. And it takes years for them to grow and be uprooted. And that's why we need institutions like impartial, objective media and robustly independent judiciary, uncorruptible. And these democratic values can seem irrelevant once democracy is reduced to winning an election, as has happened now. No longer is this necessary or essential to strive for truth and integrity, or to urge people to be better people. Democracy has become a politics based on hate and chauvinism, disregards all truth and integrity, and all norms of decency, all conventions. Institutions are not only demolished, they are captured and become handmaidens of the ruling party or of the rich. And such a politics, unencumbered by restraints, is suited to winning the elections. It stirs the emotions, mobilizes support in short term. But you win the election, but democracy is lost. Do we want that? No. Think about it, act on that. Let's build values, institutions, and in the process be democratic, even if the election is lost. Let the democracy not be lost. Thank you.